Every year, the travel company Expedia puts out a report they call the Vacation Deprivation Report. And I wanted to share with you some of the statistics they found in this year's report. Number one, they said that 65% of Americans say they do not get enough vacation time. Number two, they found that Americans receive the fewest vacation days each year, averaging just 11 days, which includes holidays such as Memorial Day, Independence Day, and Labor Day. But only half of them even use all of their allotted time. So that means that even though Americans, out of the major countries that they study for this report, get the least amount of days, we still are not taking off our full allotted time. Number three, they found that Americans go the longest without taking a vacation. And the major reason why is because they say, quote, life is too busy to plan or go on vacation. Now, compared to the rest of the world, Americans are almost twice as likely to go a year or more without taking a vacation. Another study by the World Health Organization found that at least 76% of U.S. employees report feeling burnout at least some of the time due to work-related stress. And then one last statistic they found was 49% of Americans say the reason they don't take vacations is they feel like they will fall too far behind in their work. That means almost half of Americans are not taking the necessary vacation their body and their mind needs because they believe that they can't afford to take a vacation. But with statistics like these, I feel like we can't afford not to take our vacations as we should. So let's talk about it. Now, in a previous video, we talked about the 10 arenas of life where we should begin to live more intentionally. And one of those arenas was the arena of leisure and hobbies. Now, a big part of leisure is taking vacations, taking trips that allow us to get away from our normal day-to-day business and our normal day-to-day life. Just this last week, from the time I'm recording this video, my family and I just got back from a vacation. We were able to take a couple of days off, and we rented a cabin up in Oklahoma. And we just stayed there, and we had a wonderful time. We were able to rest quite a bit, but we were able to take our children through a drive-through safari. We went on a paddle boat ride. We swam in a river. It was just a wonderful time of getting away, separating ourselves from our normal day-to-day. But we hadn't been on a good vacation for quite a while, and it was refreshing. It was relaxing, and it really did help. I can tell you it was a needed vacation for me. Now, I understand not everybody's in a position where they can just take a week off and go rent a cabin in the middle of the wilderness. And I'm not saying that's something you have to do. What I'm saying is a big part of this arena of life, this ability to separate ourselves from our normal day-to-day, to get away, to recoup, to relax, and to just refresh ourselves is very important. I've shared many times that I'm a Christian and I believe the Bible. You know, one of the commandments that the Lord gave the Jewish people was to take a Sabbath day off, where they were not supposed to do any work. Now, obviously, there are very important spiritual principles, both for the Jewish people and for Christians in that commandment. But I think there's a natural side to it as well. I think it tells us that humans were not meant to just go, work. I think it means that we are supposed to have times of rest, and apparently we're supposed to have them on a regular basis. Now remember, a big part of living the intentional life is understanding that you're the captain of your own ship, that you have agency. We don't want to make excuses of why we can't take vacations. We want to figure out, what can I do to open that door and make a way for me to be able to take regular times of rest and recovery throughout the year. So in light of that, I want to share with you 10 tips of how you can become more intentional where it comes to your vacation, where it comes to your ability to get away from your normal day-to-day life and to recuperate and to relax. Number one, start a vacation fund. If you're not capable right now, you don't have the finances to go out and take a vacation, that doesn't mean you can't start a vacation fund. And even if you are just putting away $5 a paycheck, $20 a paycheck, whatever you can do, eventually that will add up enough for you to have a getaway. Number two, identify places you can go just to get away on a regular basis. You know, those 7 to 10 day vacations, they're very important. I think you should try to plan to do one of those every single year. But what about the 1 to 3 night getaways over a weekend? What about just a day trip that you can leave in the morning and be back by nightfall? So what we've done is we've identified places. Maybe there's a place that's just 1 or 2 hours away from you that you could just go away for 1 day and be back by nightfall. Maybe there's a place that's 3 or 4 hours away that you could easily take a longer weekend and still get that rest and recovery. The cabin that we went to just last week, that was just a 3-hour trip away. We weren't taking a plane ride. We weren't driving 20 hours to get someplace. It was a 3-hour trip. Technically, we could have done that in a day, but with small children, it's a little harder. But it makes it really easy to just take a few days off and to be able to drive 3 hours and just be able to get that rest and relaxation. Don't go an entire year without having any type of trip or any type of vacation where you get to disconnect. Think about it this way. Maybe once a year, you're planning for that 7 to 10-day vacation. But maybe once a quarter, you're thinking about just a 2-night weekend getaway. And then maybe once a month, plan for a 1-day trip where you leave in the morning and you're back by the end of the day. That is the way that you can spread out this ability. Now, again, I know people are busy. I know people are going to say, I can't do that. I just don't have the time. That's part of the living the intentional life, is you making time for this very important activity. There are so many benefits to just getting away and unplugging for a while that you need to be doing it on a regular basis. Number 3, I would say try to get away from your normal environment. You know, staycations have become a very popular thing where we're just going to stay home, we're just going to relax, and that's good. And if that's all you can do, then do that. But I would say even if you are going to do a staycation, change your routine. If a normal Saturday for you is to just sit there and watch TV, you're going to do a staycation, don't just sit there and watch TV. That is not a break from your norm that is going to be able to give you the rest and the recovery that you need. But I really do believe there is just something about getting away, something about getting out there. Number 4, I would say try to get into nature. Now, this might not be for everybody. Some people might think, I'm not really a nature person. I would suggest you at least try this. Now, I'm not talking about you have to hike into the middle of nowhere and put up a tent and camp overnight in the middle of nowhere. I'm just talking about get someplace where it's not just all man-made. Maybe there's a state park nearby that you could go to. Maybe it's the ocean and you could just go put your feet in the ocean and take a deep breath and just ground yourself a little bit. But just try to get out in nature. And if it becomes that is not a thing that can cause you to relax, then that's okay. But I'd highly recommend you try it. Number 5, I would say don't take for granted the things that are close to you that other people would travel hours and hours to get to. You know, maybe, like I said, maybe you have a state park that's 1 or 2 hours away. And people come from all over the state. They'll drive 5 or 6 hours to get to that state park. And yet you're looking for something out here that you've never seen before. You know, if you have a place close by that's still getting away, still outside of that normal day-to-day routine of yours that is different enough from your routine, but just because it's close to you doesn't mean it's not something that could be that place that you just find, when I need a 1 day, I just need to disconnect. I'm going to go to this state park. I'm going to take a little hike. Number 6, I would say plan and be intentional to get at least one type of rest or relaxation. And what do I mean by that? There is times you need physical rest. Your physical body needs a break, and you just need to be able to sit down and do nothing and recuperate. There are other times when it's your mind that needs that rest and recuperation. You know, maybe if you're a project manager and you just spent 6 months on this massive project, your body might not need any physical rest, but your mind definitely does. And so you can have a vacation where you're going to go and you're going to hike, and the hiking might be stressful, but your mind is disconnected and your mind is getting that relaxation it needs. But you definitely want to get some form of relaxation from it. You know, so many times people talk about they came back, and I've been there before. I got back from a vacation and I was like, man, I feel like I need a vacation from my vacation. I feel more worn out than I left. The reason that happens is because I wasn't intentional to say, what type of recuperation do I need, and then be intentional for that. You know, that Expedia report we talked about earlier, they found that of the 11 major countries that they had studied for this report, that Americans were the least likely of all of these countries to prioritize rest and relaxation on their vacations. Number 7, I would say take things in stride and don't let big or little issues ruin your vacation. I've seen this so much, and it's been a temptation for us as well. You plan this big vacation, you're spending a lot of money, and then something doesn't go right. Maybe the hotel overbooked and you didn't get the room you wanted. Maybe your car broke down while you were going there. For us, our last 2 vacations, our children got car sick. Just this last one, we weren't even 30 minutes away from the house and our child threw up and we had to stop and we had to take care of that. And we're just trying to get out of town. We just want to relax. That's not something we want to deal with. But I don't want to let that ruin our entire vacation. So we cleaned him up. We made sure he was okay. We did all the things we needed to do. But then we said, all right, let's move on. Don't let these little things ruin your vacations, and particularly don't let them get you to the point where there's no point for us to take vacations anymore. Every time we go on vacation, something goes wrong. Don't get to that place. Just take things in stride and enjoy your vacation no matter what happens. Number 8, I would say if you're taking a vacation with your family or with your friends, remember that these times are precious and sometimes they're fleeting. This has nothing to do with getting the rest and relaxation you might need on a vacation, but it goes to the arena of relationships. Some of my best memories with my family were the times that we went on vacations. I remember so many times going to Mount Rushmore and seeing and going to South Dakota and the Black Hills area and doing all that with family. Those are precious memories to me. Now, thankfully, my parents are still here, but someday they may not be, but I've built precious memories from it. And that is another arena of life that is helping me to become a better person, be the best possible version of myself. And so don't forget that side of a vacation is that you are building a stronger relationship and you're building precious memories that can go far into the future. Number 9, I would say unplug from work as much as possible. Now, this is a hard one for a lot of people. I struggle with this. When we were on this trip, there were so many times that I'd picked up my phone and almost automatically I went to go look at my emails for work. And I had to stop myself and say, no, this is not a work trip. I'm unplugging from this. Now at my job, I do have responsibilities that I have to make myself available, but I have an understanding that with my boss, that if I'm on a trip and there is something critical, they will text or call. And so unplugging as much as possible for me was not, I couldn't just put my phone away, but I could just listen for the call, I could look at text, but I'm not going to read emails. But had I not been intentional to say I'm not going to look at my emails, when I came back, there was a lot of things that came up that really would have put my mind back in work mode had I even looked at those emails, even if I hadn't responded. And so I had to force myself, do not look at emails. And that was the refresher I needed. I didn't need a physical rest on this vacation. I just needed to unplug mentally from my normal day-to-day. But I had to force myself to do that. And many others, you're going to have to force yourself to do that. And then number 10, be intentional about this. Don't just hope someday that you're going to be able to take a vacation. Plan for the vacation, schedule the vacation. If you have to, sacrifice a little bit for the vacation. So many times we have good intentions to do things and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. And then you turn around and you haven't been on a vacation for 2 years. So be intentional. This is all part of living the more intentional life. This is one of the arenas of life we need to be better at and we need to be intentional in. And so, the end of the year is coming up. I would highly recommend, if you can't do it right now, look into 2025 and make a plan. We're going to take a 2-day trip here. We're going to get out of town on this month. We're just going to go for a 1-day trip here. We're going to plan in September of this year. We're going to take that 7-day trip that we've been wanting. And we got almost a year to save up for it. We're going to look at our budget. We're going to plan. We're going to do whatever we need to do, but we're going to be intentional on this. So much of the time, particularly in personal development, in a hustle culture, this is one of the arenas of life that is most ignored. But the more intentional life is looking at all 10 arenas of life and saying, how can I do better? How can I grow? How can I be more intentional in this area? If this video has helped you in any way, please remember to share, like, and subscribe. If you'd like to know more about the 10 arenas of life, click this video here. But until I see you again, go out and live that more intentional life.